You're now listening to episode 75 of Signed In, an Xbox 360 podcast, recorded on August 28th, 2011. Find us online at signedinpodcast.com. Welcome back to Signed In. I am Jeremy Superfro33.
What? I'm Craig Profdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
And I'm back. I was just going to say, I don't feel like there's enough fanfare at the beginning of this episode for what we require. I was maybe more aligned, like, thinking of...
We should have invited people over.
I wanted, like, House of Pain, like, the big, like, the jump around, like, beginning of that song.
I'll see what I can do.
I need some kind of, like, big fanfare for our big return, for our big 75th episode.
That's right.
Is it the 75th episode?
It is the 75th.
That is awesome.
75.
I do not have a pulse.
That's regular, so that's not counting the bonus.
Oh.
Episode. So we're probably closer to 80.
Are you going to double dip?
Up in the 80s. Yeah, we're going to wait till we get
100
and I'm going back.
At like 6 episodes ahead, and then we'll do another 100 episodes.
If I've learned anything from the comic book and your guys' podcast, that's what I'm doing. Nonstop. Just revert everything back.
It's like having 2 birthdays.
It is. And speaking of which, next episode, by the way, I wasn't going to mention it, but it's our 3-year anniversary next episode.
Nice.
If we do it on time. Which, when haven't we done a show on time?
For you guys, it is.
I'm going to get you guys an indie game.
I just won't show up.
When haven't we done a show on time?
I'll sit out for the 300.
You should.
You know,
sit around.
300th?
It's not the 300th.
You know what I'm trying to say.
It'll feel like it.
We should do it like it's the 300th.
Fifth third.
In the future.
Thanks to everybody for your patience on our absence.
Yes.
I know it's been weird with our San Diego break that we took, and then also my douchebag work stoppage that I had, so I was also out of commission in many ways.
All I'm hearing is that both were your fault.
Well, here's what I know. You guys were still here.
The douchebaggery was still in effect. I mean,
my life...
Your douchebag work was continuing on.
Yes. I just took it elsewhere. And spread it in other places. All I know is that I was not around. I was nowhere near that earthquake, by the way. I was gone before that hit.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Convenient.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out. See ya.
I did not put a bomb. So here's what I know. I was gone. I was nowhere near. But you guys were still around, am I correct?
Yes.
You guys had other shows that you were doing?
Right.
And those were coming out on time. So you just didn't step up and, like, take my place. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You didn't feel like I could be replaced?
That is because we were afraid you would hire assassins if we did that.
While you were gone, I downloaded a lot of games and didn't play them. So I filled your role.
You were in my... Thank you.
I played a lot of games on easy.
And then the games you did play, you played, yes, correct, on baby mode.
On pro mode.
Thank you.
You know, I saw a game and it had baby mode listed underneath easy mode.
Oh, also, fuck you guys. I gotta go.
Again.
It's great to be back, and I hope that this is the constant going forward. There are still things in the air we don't know, but so who knows? But at least for the next couple of episodes,
I thought you meant our banter. No, for the rest of the episode.
No. In fact, I have hardly anything to bring to the table for everybody this week. So, what do you guys got?
A shit ton.
Oh. Yeah, I should say that Craig...
It's been a while.
He outed himself, too, that, I was gone, so we left it in charge of Craig to bring the content. So it's a lot of downloadable games.
Sean brings content, but you play both sides of the field.
He sure does.
But nice. I just, I'm myself, so... I played a lot of games, but I cut some out,
What I'm saying
too.
is that Jeremy forgets to play his downloadable games.
You guys play a ton of them.
Don't play the disc games, and you play a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So really, we got everything covered. What do you got, Craig?
You won't really want me to list
Don't
these
list
off.
all the indie games, but we got like 100 indie games to talk about,
a ton
right?
of indie games, including some of the Summer Uprising winners coming out.
Yep.
And then... XBLA wise, I guess, Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet. We didn't talk about that, did we?
We didn't.
No. I got that. And Toy Soldiers Cold War.
Word.
And
Word.
I meant to get, because there's DLC for Dead Block now. They added 4 new levels for like $3. Yeah, I'm like, that's a bargain. But I didn't get to it.
That's a good price.
Yeah. What you got, Sean?
I've got a couple indie games I picked up from Dust. I'll probably mention a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I like to touch back on Portal. I borrowed Orange Box from Craig, so I'm gonna to follow up on that one.
Retro corner.
Go back in time there, and then I have
my Orange Box.
Couple not yours. A couple Kinect games for Kinect Corner, and then I've got a demo of Driver San Francisco.
You are representing everything else.
I'm trying.
Nice job.
I played them all this morning, so I'm just kidding.
I was trying to recap everything I had played this morning.
Yeah, notes were a little bit weird.
I played Toy Soldiers.
Yay!
Congratulations.
No, I played some Toy Soldiers. I've only been back a couple of days, people, so back off. I do have some Bastion, though, however, since before I left on my Exodus. And then I also have some Captain America.
Awesome.
Which Sean talked about last time. I got a couple more things to add.
Cool.
And I really loved it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll talk about it.
Awesome.
Cool.
And I have one indie game, but I'm sure you guys will cover it in your 27 that you got to talk about. So let's get right to it.
All right.
And stop wasting time.
So I'm going to start us off with a game called Xeno Waster. I believe that's how it's spelled, Xeno Waster. And it's a side-scrolling shooter in a retro sort of style. But what's kind of neat is that when you start up, you can choose not only your primary weapon, but also secondary weapon, and then a secondary weapon. And so as you collect, so you're scrolling along and enemies are flying in from the side, and you shoot them and they drop these gems. And as you're picking up gems, once you reach a certain level, then it offers you to upgrade, and you can upgrade different things about your ship, like speed, or I don't remember the other ones, but the other one is your gun. And so that's kind of cool. I had, at one point, I was able to shoot straight forward, and I could also shoot backwards if I press the X button to flip it back and forth. And then I was also shooting two things out of the top and bottom of my ship, like lasers, and then there was a homing rocket that would come out of the back of my ship. So the demo seems to be just kind of an infinite life sort of deal. Cool. Because I ran into things a lot, but but basically I played the Jupiter level, and I was flying along and I shot a bunch of enemies, and then you come to a big boss ship essentially, and so you kind of have to dodge some of the things that it's attacking you with, and then you fly all the way around it. And then you kind of break inside of it and, blow up the core, and then it blows up. It was kind of cool.
Cool.
So yeah, it was a pretty neat game.
Cool. Did you say how much it was?
I did not, because I can't remember.
Okay. That's all right.
I think it was 80, but okay. I can't really remember. Another game I played was Parasitus Ninja Zero, which is retro as well, but it's got a retro style, kind of 16-bit style.
Nice.
And so you're a ninja who gets up off the ground one day, and basically there's all these zombies and demons and monsters running around, and so you're going to have to run and jump and slash them, and you unlock new abilities as you progress and gain kind of experience. And that was what was really getting me into it, because it was like, I'd be fighting along, and then all of a sudden the screen would kind of freeze for a second, and then there's this big slash of Z with blood, and it shows you your new ability, and then I'm like, sweet, and I check it and try it out, and it was pretty fun, actually. I remember the first time I played it, I was having a real hard time doing the combat, and I'm like, I don't like this. And then I decided to play it again to give it another shot, and I actually had a lot of fun with it.
Cool.
I believe that one's $240 for cost, but very cool if you like, things like Ninja Gaiden, I guess, or anything like that, because you jump off of walls, and it was pretty cool. You'd power up at a certain point, and I could like shoot out like magic stuff from my sword for a short period of time, and yeah, pretty neat.
Nice.
Cool.
Sean, what you got?
I got Blow Me Up. It's 80 points, done by Stegosaurus Games 2.
The folks who brought us Baby Maker Extreme.
Yes.
Continuing in their vein of games that are totally disgusting, but kind of fun.
This one
quite a bit of fun, actually.
This one I really liked. Had you got to go from point A to point B, and you're this guy. You're
this guy who's been abducted by some mysterious stranger.
Yeah,
essentially, because you keep getting notes.
It's a weird. Yeah, you get these weird Post-it notes.
Can I clarify before we go any further? This is the game that has the giant blow up doll right on the front cover.
And you see her at the end of every level, and in all her disturbing glory.
Okay,
she's freaky looking.
She is terrifying.
Yeah, Summertime was a little scared by it. She's like, "What is this? What are you playing?"
Yeah.
Because at first she's like, oh, there's this pig blowing up. That's kind of neat. And then she saw the blow-up doll and goes, wait, what are you playing? But anyway.
Animals blowing up, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blow-up doll's not okay.
Well,
just so we're getting
bacon
her...
flies out of it when he blows
I
up.
just want to get her boundaries established.
But it's kind of very...
That's how you make bacon, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're this little guy and you got to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
There's 2 modes that I got to play because I ran out of time. I didn't get to the blow-up doll mode if there is one.
I don't think there is.
I hope not. But
Not that I know of.
but there you
right.
you have a bomb meter and you use that. You can pick up more like
You have a
power
amount
up
of fuel,
throughout.
yeah.
And then you can blow up and you got to get to there's high levels, low levels, things like that. It's kind of like a maze, but you can only move by blowing up.
It's got some gels that allow you to bounce.
Yep.
You have to hit buttons sometimes. If you blow up with a barrel, it'll hurl you further.
Yeah, and so that I like that. It's a little has that the gerbil physics, whatever's that game?
A physics
hamster
No,
physics.
gerbil physics.
I had
Right
it the first time.
Dang
it!
Yeah,
Hamster
Angry Birds.
geometry. Yeah.
It's that whole thing.
In the vein of that. Yeah.
And honestly, I don't tend to care for the physics games, but this one was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the level design or
I had
blow-up doll.
I had a lot more. See, and that's what I
was a
played
big
it.
factor, yeah.
I played it just to kind of make fun of it for it, but then I actually enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
And it was only 80 points. I did like that second level because then you're this pig.
Yeah.
And then you have to blow up all the animals that are on there.
Yeah, it's
And I
different,
thought
so-
that was really cool too because he blows up into bacon and then the cows blow up into steaks. So it's got a very Explosion Man feel to it at the
Yeah,
same
yeah, it
time.
does.
Has that kind of like I thought it was done really well for 80 points, but.
Yeah.
I don't know what the blow up doll's all about.
I liked how when you held down the button to explode, like you could see the circle expand, so you could tell how big your blast radius would be. So if you wanted
Nice.
to try and hit like the animals, you needed to make sure that your blast radius was big enough to hit them.
Yeah, and you could like take out the whole level, but then if you had to get somewhere, then you couldn't because then you already used up all your blowing up things.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really neat, a change of gameplay.
I thought so, too.
So yeah,
Cool.
I've also got a game called Repixland. And so this is very much in the style of, Bejeweled, where, you have a bunch of... Here you have little pictures, and you slide one in, and it trades places with the one next to it in the direction that you press. And once you get 3 in a row, then, that kind of unlocks that thing. But what Repixland adds to the whole Bejeweled mix is the fact that you have basically a solid filled screen, and things don't drop in from the top. When you connect 3, then it just changes into new random pictures. But what you have is the screen is filled, but there's a bunch of squares highlighted in the center. So instead of just trying to go for as long as you can or go for the highest score you can, you have like this timer meter slowly descending on the side, and you have to try and highlight all of those highlighted squares. You have to change their color, and you do that by successfully combining pictures within that range. And if you do that, then it adds more time to your timer. And I thought that was pretty cool because, it's the same basic gameplay as like Bejeweled, but now I was strategizing in a much different way because I was trying to make sure I maximized, the number of squares that I was
Right.
hitting in the middle of that field. And sometimes I would get stranded and I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do now? And so I'd have to kind of shift a whole bunch of other pictures in order to try and randomly change them and hope that I would get something that I could use to finish off the picture. And I thought that was a neat twist to the genre. And if you like those kinds of puzzle games, you should definitely check it out. I believe it was 80 points. But
I do, and I will. Both of those things.
excellent. I've also got a game called Zombies Ruined My Day. And so this game is kind of a twin stick shooter in kind of, I'm thinking of an indie game that's on the PC. I'm trying to remember a game that is more like it. Anyway, basically you're a dude who's trying to go on this date, but then zombies break out, and so that pisses him off. So he's going to go kill all the zombies. Well, on his way to his date. And so basically the way it works is that you start off in a room, and the room has various platforms and doors. And you can't jump. You're stuck on the first floor, but you can move. You can move around and you can shoot through the floors. And you'll notice that the doors will shake or whatever before the zombies start pouring out of them. And the zombies just start pouring out, and they just start walking and falling down platforms and getting closer and closer to you, and you have to try to take them out. You have an infinite ammo pistol, but it's very slow. You also start off with a machine gun, but it has limited ammo, and you have to kill like the soldier zombies in order to get more ammo. They'll also drop grenades sometimes, which are a lot of fun. In later levels, if you kill construction workers, you can get a barricade, so there's a little bit of tower defense in that aspect, because the zombies will hurt the barricade, but you can also move the barricades around. And I guess in another level I got a shotgun, but I didn't get very far in that one because there were punk zombies who are just jumping. It's got some elements that remind me a lot of Plants vs. Zombies, but in more of that. Well, no, because with Plants vs. Zombies, they're all coming towards you, but in a more active way. The way that you interact with them. And I thought it was really well done, and it was actually quite a bit of fun. So yeah, zombies ruined my day. And some of the screenshots showed like a giant zombie at one point.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that stuff. I believe I already purchased it. I know I was planning on it, but I think I already did.
Cool.
Sean, what else you got?
I've got Robot Platformer. It's sold for 80 points. By Core DK. It's 1 to 2 players. It's very simple graphics, almost stick figure guy. And he's like this little skull head guy, and he just kind of walks from, again, it's a point A to point B platformer. So you got to jump. You can crouch. You use jump as your X or A, crouch as Y or B. You can also, when you jump, you can hold your A or your Y, and he kind of flaps his arms so he can kind of glide, which is really cool. That's there's neat. Also shoot your triggers, or he's got this little slingshot he pulls out, and he can shoot enemies and things like that. And it's just to get to the point A to point B. But some of the levels are timed, or some of the levels you have to take out all the robots in the level. And that's the only way the gate will open. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a simple style, but I really liked the look of it. And it's got unlockable game. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. But it's not unlockable. Spoiler. But it's got like there's these clouds. So like let's say you jump and these clouds kind of bounce you up, and then there's also these flames that you have to avoid. So it's like when you're going through the levels, some levels you're just dropping, so then you have to avoid you got to flap, or you got to move to some certain hearts and things like that. Right. Really enjoyed the game. I ended up buying it. I thought it was awesome. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought the music is good. It has this nice thing when you die, your character gets grayer and grayer, and then if you're almost dead, the whole thing is like silhouetted. It's a really cool style. Cool. I thought for 80 points, it's totally worth checking out. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was just a throwaway game, and it kind of won me over.
That's awesome.
So, that's neat. Yeah. I also tried out Moon Cheese, which is it's similar to the tower jump games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it works on a slightly different principle, and feels very much like those bar games that you would play.
Yeah.
20 on one machine or whatever.
Yeah.
And basically, I think they're goblins or whatever. So you're a goblin in this rocket, and you're trying to blast up high enough to get this moon cheese that's floating around in space.
Moon cheese.
Yes, moon cheese.
Okay.
Floating moon cheese.
And the thing is, your rocket can't touch the ground, otherwise it breaks. And so there are all these other goblins walking around carrying powder kegs, and so you have to bounce off of them instead. And if you hit like 2 at the same time, then you get more propulsion. There's also these flying enemies. Some of them you can actually hit, and they'll give you power-ups. Others you're supposed to try to avoid. And you can also press A. So as you hit more and more goblins, then you fill this power meter. And if you press A, then that releases all the power, and you can use that.
Gotcha.
You're supposed to use that eventually to get up to the moon cheese. I think basically the way because I still have yet to get any moon cheese, but basically what you need to do is hit 2 goblins at the same time on the bottom for an extra boost, then hit one of the hittable enemies flying in the air for another boost, and then use your boost to get up higher. And then there are a variety of other enemies that start coming in. There's these big hulking guys who walk across the screen, then get to a point and point a gun up in the sky and shoot like a bullet into the air. There are these guys with spike helmets that you can't land on, although you can use the boost to kill them instead. And so that's basically it. It's pretty simple. Well, for me at least, I didn't get past that first level, but I couldn't get any moon cheese myself. But it's really well done in terms of presentation, and it works pretty tightly, and was just a really simple premise done really well.
Awesome.
And then I also have Inferno! Which is I believe this one was 80 points as well, and basically the story is that there is this planet that has become a big mining facility or whatever for this radioactive ore, but something's going wrong there, and all of the power plants are basically overheating, and so the planet's going to explode. Unless they send in this one dude in this lone little ship to go cool it off.
Do you get to play the dude?
You do get to play the dude.
This sounds awesome.
So basically, and it is actually, it's a very fun game.
You play the assistant to the dude.
I thought you played maybe the planet that was about to explode.
Do you guys?
And you're like, get away from me.
Do you guys remember Uber Gritter from Winter Uprising?
Yeah, I do.
Where you were running around on the little tracks. Mm-hmm. It's similar in that you're running around on tracks, and so basically your ship has been inserted into the facility, and you have to use these tracks to get around to the reactors, and you'll see like these glowing coals or whatever below, and if you pass your ship over them, then you cool it off, and the point is to cool off all the area. But the security defenses have gone nuts, and so they're trying to kill you too. And so you're avoiding like shots, and then you can also pick up power-ups, and you can pick up ammo. You have a limited amount of ammo, so you can use that to kill the enemies. And yeah, it's got a retro sort of, I would say 8-bit art style, and then good music, and is actually quite a bit of fun as you're trying to dodge around and run around the tracks and position yourself so you can shoot like turrets or whatever before you get to an area. And so basically once you've I can't remember if you have to pick up a certain number of things, or if it's just when you finish cooling off all of the reactors, then a teleporter opens at the end, and you go through that and you go to the next level. Very simple, but a whole lot of fun. I was enjoying the heck out of it.
Cool.
What else you got, Sean?
I got Who is God? No question mark.
Yes, that's right.
Because
From Magico Game.
Who is God? Yeah, Magico Games brought the platformer.
Yeah,
Platformance. Yep, both those. Sells for 80 points. You get to pick between 3 deity avatars or an alien. I guess he might be a
He's
deity.
an alien deity.
Yeah, I should.
Wow.
I'm
That was racist.
I know. I'm sorry. And you go bottom to top, and you bounce off these blocks, and it's a it's a distance game. So you bounce off
it's a tower jump game.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you
gotcha.
bounce off these blocks, and you try to pick up all these stars, which gives you more of these like almost like a power jump that shoots you even further up. But then they have these purple blocks in there that they disappear when you land on them, and then these red blocks that take away your jumps.
And I didn't figure that out for a while.
Yeah.
I was just jumping on him. I'm like, I don't know why it's making that noise.
Yeah, it's like cool. And then I'm like, wait, I don't have any super jumps.
Exactly.
But you just try to get further and further. The music picks up, the speed picks up, and it's really
it's high techno, and and kind of in the vein of Jump Hero, which we'll talk about later, or Techno Kid Adventure. There's all sorts of crazy shit going on.
Yeah, you'll get
side.
these like
you'll
get these like arrows will point up all of a sudden, and squares just start showing up.
Oscilloscopes going on the sides,
and it's like it's always changing. And you got this little.
It's cool.
I was always the elephant guy, so
I was often Buddha.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's really simple, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just kind of you can't put it down.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good, and it's a tower jump game, but you don't actually have to worry about the jumping. The jumping is automatic.
Yeah.
You just have to worry about navigating yourself over platforms, which is kind of nice.
And then
one less thing to worry about.
And then fall.
Oh,
and you're like, please land on something that I can make it work.
It deletes the blocks after a certain point. So I think I got up to like 20,000 kilometers or something on one go. I
thought it was really fun.
Yeah, it is quite a bit of fun. Is there a leaderboard? I believe
there is a leaderboard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Cursed Loot is a familiar game to all of us, I'm sure. You guys remember Epic Dungeon?
Yes.
I've heard of that.
Winter Uprising?
Yes, I do know
This
that
is basically... it's not an update. It's kind of a new version. You have to purchase it. It's 80 points again.
Okay.
So it's just as cheap, but it's a pretty substantial update. They've added a new class of player. So you can be a goblin who automatically starts with like +2 to his health regen.
Cool.
Which can be pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then there are a whole bunch of new things in there. There are awardments in the game, and then apparently successfully getting awardments unlocks new things in the dungeon when you go back to play it again.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then they're all I found like this glowing hole on one level, and I jumped in it, and it turned into a side-scrolling platformer where I couldn't control my character, but he would just keep running forward, and I'd just press A to jump, so he would try to get the coins. And,
nice.
you keep going until you fall, and then when you fall to the next floor below you.
That's awesome.
I know. And then there are you remember
That's really cool.
the skill upgrades. That's where you could upgrade things like health regen and all that. There are 4 new skill upgrades, including things like stealth and a bunch of other stuff I can't remember because I only did stealth.
That's great, though. I mean, it sounds like a great, overall update.
Yeah,
I mean, technically update.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really updating the old gameplay.
Right. And so, if you enjoyed it, I think it's worth another $1.
Another $1?
Yeah.
Kick another $1 that guy's way?
Do especially, if you feel like you played it out, because the new skills, the new levels, the new character are all neat little changes to it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, Cursed Loot is its new name. I believe it says same game, new name in its little advertisement. They aren't no bones about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, I played a game called Doc Logic, which is old school side-scrolling platformer, and this is more like Atari-style graphics, kind of. And basically, I can't remember exactly. I think you've been abducted. There's a lot of games where you've been abducted by some random person and you're being forced to do things, and so you have to run around.
That kind of sounds like what I did the last 2 weeks.
You were in a platformer.
Sort of.
You were in an indie game. All right, indie game developers, you need to get on this. Froze Quest.
I was abducted and forced to do things.
Exactly. See? Nice.
Anyway,
I did see an indie game on there that looked like it might have been ripping off our old football game that we proposed.
Okay, no, there was another one that was on there. What, where you were the manager and you just play the...
No.
Cubicle.
Cubicle.
Yeah, that cubicle game, right? Yeah. And it was just you sit in an office and do the work.
Yeah. Wasn't that essentially what our football game boiled down to?
Well, yeah, because you were just the office manager guy who was like...
No, I think then we became like the temps or something like that.
You had to build your way up.
Yes.
So this guy was just like shredding paper and stapling things. And...
answering the phone. Anyway. Doc Logic.
I did see that game.
We were talking about Doc Logic, weren't we?
What a dick steal our idea from 2 years ago.
Basically, you have to run around and collect these clocks in order to keep extending your time. There are enemies and traps, but the enemies and traps can't kill you. They just slow you down and thus, prevent you from keeping the timer going. Basically, it ends when the timer's done.
Gotcha.
And as you progress, like up 5 levels, then it opens up new areas to the side. So now you have a bigger area to search. You do have a little mini map that has like little blips where the clocks are. Cool. And then also, you can attack enemies. You just basically start off with a slash, but I believe you later get a shot as well. But if you kill enemies, sometimes they'll drop a suit upgrade, and the suit can upgrade 4 times or whatever. And I think at first it just kind of upgrades your speed, then upgrades like power, then jumping, and then there's something crazy with the purple suit. And it's pretty slick. It moves along very nicely. It's got a great soundtrack. I can't remember who did it. Dang it, because they made a big deal about it.
But it was good
and I was
sounding?
like, yeah, it was good sounding. And the whole overall thing was, a very simple platformer, but a whole lot of fun.
Cool.
What else you got, Sean?
Cute Things Dying Violently.
Oh, my goodness,
It
yes.
sells for 80 points. It's from Apathy Works. 1 to 2 players. There's something like 155 levels on
Something
this thing.
like that.
You can create levels. You can, it's got a level editor, which is fantastic. It's
got
a lot of
local
fun.
multiplayer.
Yep, and with it's got traps and hate bots. The hate bots are really cool. A lot of blood. And then this is the one that I was saying had unlockable game modes. There's like in-game achievements that unlock the game mode. So there was like one that I got where I killed all of the little cute things, and it opened. I got an in-game achievement,
levels,
and it was like bathed in red or something, or
I got that
painted
one
in
too.
red. And where you have to. Then this next one is your goal is to kill them before you're saving them, and this one is to kill them. And the way to do that is to like color all the blades red, so you got to hit every blade, so you have to always. And I had a lot of fun just on that level because I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I just kept shooting them up into the one blade.
Yeah,
and it just, the whole thing was a blood storm.
Why don't you tell them about the regular game?
But the regular game is just you want to get, it's kind of like the gerbil physics a little bit, and where although you have to get the cute things to an elevator, and you have to do that by flicking them, and then you can have, it's a different, like, it shows you on your arrow whether or not how big of a flick it is.
Yeah,
So
how powerful it
how
is,
powerful your flick is. So like you can just give it a couple little tiny flick or a big one, and they go flying. I love the audio.
Got that variety.
I love the audio in it because they're swearing the whole entire time. I don't care.
Are they really?
It doesn't sound like it because it's all like, fuck,
Oh.
shit, fuck you. You know, like, it's like,
really?
oh, yeah.
I
It's
didn't
like,
pay attention to that.
there was like one part
That's awesome.
I flew one and he was going close to a blade and all I could hear was shit, 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 shit. And I'm like, if that, you know what that is. But had a lot of fun, especially with the create level, because all I did was put a ton of them out there and put blades and they just all fell in. I wasn't.
He's made a meat grinder.
Yeah, essentially, because you can do whatever you
Wow.
want. You can make
I'm finding dark new depths of Sean
Oh,
here.
but they're cute.
What? How does that make it better?
And they're dying violently. It's in the title. That's what you're supposed
what
to
he's
do.
supposed to do.
It
I was
certainly is.
winning.
That is true.
I'm always winning when I'm doing that because it's
Always
in the title.
winning.
But
Sean's new
I like
tagline.
how I like how after the first couple levels in the tutorial where it's like, okay, so now you know how to play cute things living their lives fully.
but I had a lot of fun with it. I bought it.
Yeah.
I've the one couple levels are pretty hard because it's just trying to get the whole flick down and
Yeah.
how to get the pressure
Right,
and how you're
right.
going to take because then it's all. If you save at least one of them, that's good. But
Yeah.
then it shows you, a little star, and you're like, wait, I want to fill that up because it doesn't match all the rest. So I thought it was a lot of fun. It's one of the Summer Uprising games,
Yes.
and
is
80
it?
points.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally worth
so-
checking out.
Wait, what? How much was it?
80 points,
Is it? I thought most of the games were 240, except for like.
except for cute things dying violently because
okay.
I bought it for 80 points.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Surprising.
I'm gonna check it out. I don't know any. I'm a terrible co-host. I don't know any of the Summer Uprising games.
You're out.
I am out of commission.
You're back in.
barely. Just the tip.
Yeah. No, I actually did think it was, it was pretty good. You know me in physics games,
Yeah.
so I wasn't quite getting into it. But yeah, it was a really well done game. It was really well polished, and I was surprised with like the level editor and all
Yeah.
that jazz. So
That
Sounds awesome.
one's a lot of fun because then you can even put in traps because for multiplayer you can put in traps for the other people too. And I'd like to try the multiplayer out. So
yeah,
And it's multiplayer online?
no,
Local, okay.
but
yeah.
really cool
Well,
though.
if you ever invite me to your house, I'll play with you.
Yeah, if I ever invite
Never.
anyone to my house,
I'm not concerned about anybody but me.
that's true.
Another summer uprising game, Raventhorne, came out from our good friends at Milkstone Studios.
Oh my god, guys. I played this game.
I
What?
did not.
I played a game.
I probed this one.
Well, why don't you tell us about it?
It's awesome.
You are out again. Raventhorne is a side-scrolling hack and slash. I mean, it's a side-scrolling action.
Yeah, I mean,
game.
it's a 2D side scroller. It really reminded me of like the screenshots I saw of it at first. It was like more of a like 80s style arcade game,
Right,
like any
yeah.
of those like Altered Beast or anything like that, where it had
exactly.
that look to it.
Precisely.
Primal Rage.
Exactly, like all those. But it was you're a Norse god. I mean, because you're playing like
You're not a god. You're a man.
you're a dude. Okay,
but you are tied to saving the gods from Ragnarok.
right, because
Wow.
you're trying to
So you
stop
have been,
Ragnarok
so
from
you've been
happening.
killed. So you start off in hell, and basically what I'm understanding is you're going to progress your way
One
through.
L.
1L.
Yeah.
Helheim.
Helheim. Yeah. You're going to be progressing.
That's why it's totally up your alley.
I know.
Like, Sean's,
I played this
Sean's totally going to play this game at least. I'll play it.
and basically, from what I
Failed.
understand, you're going to be progressing your way through the different realms. What is there? 9 realms, Sean?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think it did say 9 levels.
Yes.
So something like
Yeah.
that.
So you're going to progress your way through the nine realms to get up to Asgard and try to save them.
So you get your axe attack or
you have
your
a big
sword
old hammer.
attack,
Yeah, you
and
have
then
sword.
your hammer,
Big hammer.
which is like your heavier attack. But you also
You
have
have
the block,
magic. Oh, yeah.
block options. You do have magic attacks you can do. So you do, and then you have stamina. So that's what I really
Right.
liked about the attack parts is that it almost became also a little bit strategy based because
Yeah.
you can't just sit there and hack and slash
Spam.
until you're done.
No.
You do have
'Cause you'll get tired.
stamina, and I like that you can also change up your battle stance. So you have
Yes.
like a defensive stance, you have like a medium stance, like a mid. I don't know what that one was too much.
I'm
but
gonna
then
guess that's balanced.
then there was an aggressive stance, and so you do more damage on the aggressive, but you use up your stamina faster.
Ooh.
So you can kind of balance that, and that's all done with the right bumper. I
Yeah.
think that you switch those out. So there was a ton of different levels to it, where it seemed like really simplistic up front, but then
Right.
there was like all this other things, all these other options that you could do to change up the gameplay.
Yeah.
That were really kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And weren't noticeable at first. And with the stamina too, you do have the block option, so you can sit there and block as well. But that does take down your stamina, like it would on any kind of fighting game.
But if you time your block just right, then you can become invincible for a short time and regenerate stamina faster. So,
which is really cool.
It's got a lot of depth.
I was having a lot of fun with it. I think I'm going to pick it up. Did you say how much it was?
$240.
It was $240. Okay. I think I'm going to pick it up. I haven't picked it up yet, but I don't see any reason why not. It looked awesome.
This was another game where the first time I played it, I was just having a hard time with the combat, and I'm like, I wasn't really into it. Like, I felt like those first couple battles with the monsters were kind of just, I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing, because I came back to it later and paid attention to all the little instructions, and I was trying to make sure I was doing things correctly, and it became a lot more fun for me. And
it's very nuanced.
Yeah,
like as far as like we said, you look at it at first and you're like, oh, it's a hack and slash, I'll just do that, and it's like there's so much more to it.
And really, that's not where it's at. Yeah,
it's surprising to me.
Sweet. And you do level up, although I don't think there's any like stat distribution or anything.
I didn't notice
the level ups heal you, and you might gain more health. But I know the big thing is that you can go longer combos before your stamina runs out. The more you level up, so very cool stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Way to go,
bit.
Milkstone.
Yay.
I've also got a game called Motorbike Stunt Agent Julie. Are you ready for this one?
I am.
I love the cover to this one.
This game is actually pretty awesome. And so basically, you are a stunt woman. Julie. That's right. She's French. And she does these expos of stunt motorcycle stunts while she shoots things, because she used to be
with a gun.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She used to be part of some motorized recon unit or whatever.
Nice.
And so this military dude shows up and he's like, Julie, we need you. Oh no, I don't want to do that no more, because she's got a really bad French accent, just like mine right there. And what's cool about it is it's kind of a combination of twin stick shooting and motorcycle physics games. And so as you're driving along, you ramp off of things and you do spins, and you want to try to land those spins, and you're jumping over things. You get like this boost ability to help you jump, because there's very little things that are more fun than boosting up off of a ramp, doing like a double backflip while shooting your gun at a tank until it explodes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It's pretty
sweet. It's like Charlie's Angels, the movie, the game.
It's better than that,
because there's no Drew Barrymore or Cameron Diaz.
Yes, so it's quite a bit of fun actually, and at first that combination of controlling the motorcycle, you don't die if you land on your head or something like that, but you lose your forward momentum.
I don't believe this game now.
And you can flip yourself over with by pressing the A button or whatever.
That's really cool though. But that cover didn't do it justice. I gotta write this down.
It's really a lot of fun. Yeah, you've got like helicopters and jets flying over you, shooting bombs, dropping bombs, and tanks shooting at you, and you just got I don't know what this is, like a super machine gun or whatever. You're just blowing shit up left and right. It's totally awesome actually. And it's got comic book style cutscenes, but with voice acting over top of it. So very nice stuff. I recommend
check it out.
Yeah, me
I
too.
do recommend that. Sean, what else you got?
That was it that I had for indie games.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also tapped out.
That was it. That was. I played a handful of the Summer Uprising, and I just didn't write notes on them.
Okay.
So, but
Gotcha.
I can add.
Well, I've got a few more here. I think 4. I've got a game called After Dusk, which is. Do I want to describe it as a platformer or an action game? It's hard to describe. Anyway,
it's pre-game talk.
It's got
pre-show talk. There.
It's got a really, really retro style. Probably more in line with like Atari level. And but like the Atari 2600.
Oh, so you're stepping it up.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, there's a story that this space station, they lost contact with it, and so they're going to send one guy out there, and he's like, "Sweet, I'm going to salvage stuff." And so you get there, and it's really dark. Like, you have your spacesuit, and it highlights a little area around you, but you're kind of just searching around, and it's got a like really creepy tone. Basically, there's zombies in space. Is essentially what we're going to boil down to. Something bad happened, and everybody died on the platform.
Dead Space.
It is kind of like Dead Space.
Is it like an Atari version of Dead Space?
Kind of.
I'm in.
Well, maybe not.
Oh.
It's
you want to temper my expectations a little bit.
The presentation is fantastic. You later then get launched out of the space station onto I guess it's Mars. It's a red planet, I think is what they just describe it as. And so then there are also all these aliens that are attacking you as well. It's a really cool game. I found the combat kind of difficult. Okay. It takes a lot of hits to kill enemies, and they move up on you pretty quickly. I mean, I think the solution for that is you're supposed to just jump up on a platform out of their way as they run at you. But then at later levels, there were also these things running along the ceiling, and I had no way to shoot them at all, and so they were just dropping shit on me as I'm trying to dodge the zombies. I don't know. I had some difficulty with it. I only got to play it the one time, though. Okay. And as my track record of this episode shows, second time is always better.
You may need a couple times.
So
you're playing it all wrong.
But I really liked the sort of plot setup at the beginning, and especially because those first levels, you're not really doing a lot. You're kind of exploring around, and it's this empty space station, and you can't see much, and you turn on generators, and then some of these lights click on, and yeah, it's a really cool idea, and so you should definitely check it out for that.
I will.
I've also got Video Wars, which is a real-time strategy game, but inspired by classic arcade video games, and so So here's the thing. It's a real-time strategy game, but you don't have to really control the units. The units are smart. They can control themselves. They'll go attack. And basically you have this playing field, and you have nodes, and then there are enemy nodes, and they'll be creating units, and so they're going to fight. But you're also gaining money for the amount of territory you cover, I believe. Okay. And so you can construct new nodes, then you can upgrade those nodes to like turrets. You can fire missiles at things, and you have like these defensive lasers, and there's just a whole bunch of cool things in there for real-time strategy fans, and done in that kind of cool classic arcade style. So yeah, I don't have really much more to say about it. If you like real-time strategy games, you should definitely check it out. It's one of the better ones I've seen on the indie marketplace. I've also got another Summer Uprising entry, Tech 3001 T.E.C. This one was pretty cool. I didn't know what to think of it when I first saw videos and stuff for it online. But basically, did they explain the story in the game? I don't think they did.
I just know you're a robot picking up batteries.
Yeah, you're a robot, and well, you're kind
like
of
the AI robot.
You've kind of been sent into the internet, I believe, or
it's like
inside
Tron,
a computer.
It's a Tron Wally.
You're
Wally-tron.
Yeah, and
Wally-tron. Attorney at law.
There you go. They're going to team up with Wally Gator.
Wally Gator and Wally-tron.
Yes. And then, so basically, but you're this robot, and you're running along, and you can't really stop. You've got constant momentum.
Yeah.
And there are green pads on the floor that will speed you up, and then you can jump over walls. You can double jump over things. You can dash.
There's some
break through stuff.
There's some breakable walls.
You can do a double jump and dash to get over large pits, and then the slide, which is also a lot of fun.
Well, there's also an arch, a green arch that you go through, which just sends you like a bat out of hell flying in. That's when the game lost me. I was like, motherfucker, because I kept running into a wall every time.
Why did you go through the arch?
Because it makes you go faster.
Because it was there, Craig.
Yeah, the
what's
arch,
he gonna do? Not go through it?
The arch puts you at max speed.
Yeah, I know what it does.
There's a green pad on the other side. There's a battery.
I know.
I know what it does. I just can't stop myself from doing it.
But it's those like, it's there. You can do it. You can. Someone's gonna be able to make it work. So it's the type of thing that I kept trying, and I got better and better, but I'd keep dying, and I was like, man. This game is just going to
because you don't slow down.
Yeah.
I mean, the more speed you add to yourself, you're stuck at it. Yeah. And I actually had a lot of fun, dodging the obstacles and sliding under things, because you get to these walls where there are these tiny slide gaps that you have to aim for, and I was going at a pretty speedy speed, not as fast as Sean apparently, but
I was going
a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
So I thought I liked the music. I thought it looked really neat, and just a very kinetic sort of game.
I think they had a really nice thing in the gameplay. Is like you could cross over or go through a gap that would change the look of it. It would change. It would go from like blue to green, or green to red. Or I thought that was I thought that was really cool.
That was neat. I liked how there were branching paths, and sometimes your branching path would lead you to a dead end, and so your solution was to just kind of jump back over to another path and hope that you made it. And I like those risks, and that it is quite possible that you can make it just fine.
Yeah, and there's other, other paths to take, which I thought was cool too.
Yep, very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. I believe that one's 240.
Yeah.
The last game I got to,
Already?
I did not get to Doom and Destiny, unfortunately. I'll have to talk about that next episode.
I'll save mine for next episode. I want to play some more of it.
Yeah, and the last one I got to talk about was a contender for Summer Uprising, and unfortunately did not make it. It's from our good friends at Silver Dollar Games. It is the Jump Hero. The Jump Hero. Don't forget the The Jump Hero. And so this is... how to describe the Jump Hero. It's a platforming game, essentially.
Do you jump?
You do jump. You jump a lot.
You save people.
And
I don't know.
You don't save
I
people.
know. I downloaded it. I didn't play it.
You're not a hero in that vein.
I was in.
You're a personal hero to
Of mine.
yourself. And so, kind of in the style of Techno Kitten Adventure in the sensory overload department.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
It's a forward-moving kinetic game, and so you can't stop running, and you're running across all these buildings and stuff, and so you have to jump. You can double jump, and if you press down, and so the longer you hold the jump, the higher you go. You jump pretty damn high.
Okay.
And if you press down while in the air, then you basically stomp down to the ground. So if you want to get down there to pick up some power-ups, I'll get to the power-ups in a minute. You can do that. If you press up while you're in the air, then you fold out these wings, which allow you to kind of glide, so you descend much more slowly. Although, if you're up high, you're too close to the sun, then your wings will start to burn.
Nice.
And so you have a little health bar going down, and then they'll have to heal.
Way to go, Icarus.
Exactly. I liked that. And basically, all hell is breaking loose as you're doing this, and the techno's booming, and crazy things are happening, and then all of a sudden the environment will change. And I was running along buildings, and all of a sudden I'm in the jungle, and then I'm in some weird tech area, and and so you have these stars that you're trying to collect. There are also these little green dudes that are extra lives that you need to collect, and then there are hazards, which are little red triangles or circles. And so basically you're moving along at a hellbreak pace, trying to dodge things that you're supposed to dodge and pick up things that you're supposed to pick up. There are also letters that spell out Jump Hero at the top. I don't know what will happen when you get that, because I never was that successful. And then so some things you have to jump through, this middle area. You can't hit the ceiling, otherwise you'll lose a life. But if you lose a life, it's not like you stop and then you have to restart. It just says life lost, and you just keep going.
Oh, that's nice. So there's really no break.
There is no break
at
from the action whatsoever.
It's basically the number of hits you can take
Yes.
at that point.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And some of those middle areas will have glass, and if you see a picture of yourself running towards the glass, then if you just run at it and don't jump, then you'll do a stunt fall, and you gain extra points, and it slows down for a moment and he automatically makes it to safety.
It's really cool.
And also, if you're moving really close to a hazard, then time kind of slows down a little bit for you, and you gain points for that. And a very stylish game. It is oozing with style and sensory overload. So be sure to wash your eyes when you're done with it.
The screenshots of it kind of intimidated me. I downloaded it, didn't get to play it yet, but I'm totally now I've got to play it.
The only thing that gets me is the pressing up for the wings, because I have this instinct to press up to want to jump higher.
Yeah.
And so I'll jump, and then I'll press up, and then I'll stop my ascent, because now I've got the wings and I'm gliding down slowly. So I need to train myself to not do that. But overall, I believe it's 80 points. Oh, it's Silver Dollar Games. Of course, it's 80 points. Pretty awesome, actually.
Is it possible when you spell out Jump Hero that it actually just melts your face?
Probably.
Okay.
That is
Just
probably
wanna make
true.
sure that
in Indiana Jones
Yes.
and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's like opening the Ark.
That's exactly what it's like.
Cover your eyes.
The ghost things come out.
Just wanted to make sure. So don't spell out jump.
Yes. Jump Hero.
Jump Hero, okay.
Maybe the Jump Hero. I'm not positive. There was a lot of things going on. I didn't have time to look at the empty letters that I didn't spell.
Awesome.
But there you go.
That's only
indies.
18 indie games.
I know.
That's what happens when
I'm
we
slacking.
take a break for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And Summer Uprising comes out.
That's right.
And all the nominees for Summer Uprising that didn't make it come out.
We got to make up lost time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Should we move on to XBLA?
Let's do it.
I've got, just to recap, maybe on talk back a little bit about Bastion.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Which I picked up right after our last episode. I love it.
It's
The
awesome.
style is amazing. The music is fantastic. The narration is sick. Like, just that storytelling element. I mean, I don't really know how much I have to add over what we've already discussed about it last time,
Yeah.
but I love it. One thing
great.
I know we didn't talk about last time, which I really love, was the little the mini game kind of aspect of it with the wave battles.
Yeah.
So they have like those endless
the
wave
dream
battles,
areas, yeah.
and those even are incorporated into the story, which are amazing because you go into these little segments where you're basically just doing 30 waves or however many
Yeah.
waves of enemies, and while that's happening, there's still the story. A different story is being narrated. Usually, it's
Some
about the
backstory.
characters.
Yeah.
it's backstory stuff. But I found, while I love the narration. And I love that element, I kind of found at a couple of different points that I kind of wasn't paying attention. Did you have that at all?
Oh, I'm sure sometimes.
So as I was walking through, I was like, "Oh shit! I haven't been listening to anything that guy just said because I was so focused on like doing this other stuff."
Right. And
so I almost had to go back and redo it.
typically they don't. I mean, yeah.
And it's not anything major, but
I think I was able to kind of go in and out when I knew there was something interesting being said, or whether it was just color commentary.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, because I did miss some of the color commentary.
I was having some of that where I was just like, all of a sudden realized I didn't pay attention to anything that he just said.
And you felt bad about
for like 5 minutes. I felt terrible. I'm like, what am I missing? Because that's where I'm learning the story.
Yeah.
What's happening? But no, I'm loving it. I still haven't finished it. I got close, I think.
I can't wait to talk
But then
about
I
that
got
ending
ripped
with you.
away. Yeah, I really want to finish it. That and about 100 other things, unfortunately. But I do want to finish it. So hopefully by next time I'll have some more.
Soundtrack is
pleasant
available
thoughts of it.
now for purchase.
I already have it
Nice.
because it's awesome.
I was telling the listeners.
Forget them. It's
not all
this
about
is us.
you.
This is just us.
I already have it.
I already got that. We talked about that, Craig. Why
I
are we
got that
discussing
so
it now?
long ago. That's like so last week.
But yes, for the listeners, it is available, and everyone should buy it. And you're welcome. I'm glad I could bring that information to you.
Nice.
Double dip. All right.
I'm going to touch base a little after Bastion. I picked up from Dusk.
Yes.
After the last show.
So glad you guys are catching up to me.
Absolutely. This is a game
How's that feel for once?
Yeah.
To be at the forefront
Dang.
of this show. It's got to feel amazing. It's not all it's cracked up to be, don't worry.
Oh, me. So from Dust, the demo was awesome. It just opens it up some more, and I have a lot of fun just like having fun with these little guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I find myself, I need to go through the game instead of like making it work and then sitting there going, I ended up making
That's the best part.
rivers and things
Yeah.
like that, and just totally changing the scenery, and I was having fun with that, and that's what this game is for me, is mostly just being essentially like a deity and just dumping water on somebody. And like, when you make it to the
Have
jail,
you played some of the challenge levels?
yeah, and those like there's the one where you got to get a bunch of those people and the water keeps coming down.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that one just drives me nuts, but it's so fun to play them, and
good.
the replayability is there too, because it just seems like things kind of change up a little bit.
Yeah. You're never going to do anything the same.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
You
And
move
even
stuff
if you
around
make something a little bit different, whoa, that's going to be a lava flow on top of you.
Well,
because you did one thing like
Exactly.
smallly,
Yeah.
just
yeah, I thought especially I made it to one of the levels with a volcano, and it was like that thing totally changed.
Yeah.
Like it was like, okay, well, you need to pay attention
You're like,
to
oh,
this.
that's a neat volcano, and then all of a sudden it explodes and like it's coming out the wrong side,
and you're like, why are my guys screaming while I'm working on this part? And then I turn around and it's a flame. I'm
They're
like,
all on fire.
oh, that's why the lava made a wall all the way to the village. This is great.
people scream when they're on fire. Sean.
But another
Jeremy knows from experience.
fantastic fun game. So
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's move forward then. Move along with this momentum.
Ever forward.
Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet came out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it already. It's been, 3 weeks
Yeah.
now?
It has.
But Basically, you're an alien on this planet, and this spore lands on your sun, and the sun turns into an insanely twisted shadow planet, and then tries to infect your homeworld. And so you run around a little bit defending your homeworld, and then blast off to the sun to try to save that. And it's kind of an exploring game. Comparisons have been made for like Shadow Complex in terms of the way the map is laid out, and searching for upgrades and moving back and forth between areas.
Yeah.
And, that Metroid style as well. One thing that people have been criticizing a lot about it is it's a little more laid back than you would anticipate from something called Insanely Twisted.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but I actually like that aspect of it. If the art style is of course fantastic.
I agree.
Done by I can't remember his name now.
Michael Gagne.
Yes,
I believe.
Yeah, who's a fantastic illustrator and animator. And so things are great. I mean, I would just be moving along in an area and I noticed stuff like in the background, like kind of fuzzed out happening. And I'm like, that's pretty cool stuff. And then, I couldn't quite tell, cause later on things are pretty silhouetted. And I couldn't always tell what was an enemy and what was just background. And so I would be cautious around areas. I would be not cautious enough around other areas. And then you have your variety of gadgets, which are a lot of fun to use. Some you'll have to use for particular areas. Okay, so here's one thing that's really neat. You start off with like the scanner.
Yeah.
And you can use that to... That's really useful. You can use that to basically find things that are going to be helpful for getting through areas. Like I would be stuck in areas and I'm like, how the hell do I get through this? How the hell do I get through this? And that usually what I would do is I pull out my scanner and just like go around until I hit something that I could scan, and I'm like, oh, I need to use this somehow or whatever.
Nice. Yeah.
But when you scan enemies, it shows you all of the weapons, all the tools that are effective against it, but it'll highlight the one that's the most effective against it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I played the demo. So I've looked at the demo thus
Yeah.
far this week, and I love the look.
Yeah.
But you get so limited on your items that you have at the beginning. So when I would scan something, it would only show me one thing.
Right.
So I didn't run into anything that had like multiples.
Right.
So you're saying if they do have like multiple things that you can use on them, they'll highlight the one that is
because
most
things
really awesome.
Most things are vulnerable to the gun, to the rocket, and probably the laser or something else.
Okay.
I forgot. It's been a while since I played it. I played the hell out of it for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And so that stuff's really cool. I like grabbing stuff with the little claw. You can grab enemies with that and throw them around.
I really like the physics aspect of it a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where it felt, we talked about it, looking, I don't know if it was on the show or if we were talking in private about it, but just me and you, like in our private time.
Yes.
That we have all the time.
Pillow talk.
Pillow talk.
We talk arcade games.
It definitely looks.
I'm getting turned on right now.
Oh, you went that way.
And unfortunately for me, everything's just crawled back up inside. So, no, in seriousness though, we were talking about the art style being very reminiscent of Patapon, those kind of games and that look, just with the silhouette of everything.
Right.
And then I think you had also mentioned Limbo, like it gave you that feel a little bit.
Yeah, the animation style, the way things kind of flow.
And it was the physics aspect of it too, where a couple of those elements where I had to move things and that caused things to move, and that felt very Limbo-ish to me too.
Right.
Where you were opening up passages by moving rocks and then having to put them back.
And the controls are pretty.
Awesome.
The controls are pretty tight too.
Yeah, I thought so.
And especially because when I first saw it, the spaceship wobbles and it turns directions when you're moving around, and so I'm like, oh, how squidgy is this going to be? But it's actually very tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then you kind of explore these different areas, and they have different themed areas, which is really neat, which then have different types of enemies in there. A lot of exploring to be done. There's also actually a multiplayer level or a multiplayer mode, or you can play it single player. It's called Lantern Run, and I totally didn't expect this from the game. And it's actually really great. It's very different from the single player experience. Basically, what's happening is however many people are playing, you each have a little lantern thing. You have to kind of grab it with your claw arm and drag it behind you. And but the problem is that you know who loves lantern things? The giant Cthulhu monster thing that busts through walls and chases after you as you grab the lanterns. And so basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get through. It randomizes the passages with basically different types. You'll see repeated types, like the shape will be the same with the same sorts of enemies in there, so you can recognize things. And so sometimes it's best just to dodge the enemies because you need to get moving. But sometimes you'll have to stop and destroy enemies or make your way through a pile of rocks. Which led me to discover that actually the shield tool, there's a shield tool. And at first I'm like, this isn't very useful. It actually makes a very good rock clearer because if you get those, because the shield will appear underneath the rocks, and so then they'll start freaking out and they'll start like flying out of the way and stuff. You can use it to push a lot of rocks instead of just grabbing them with a claw and trying to yank on it. Oh, I can't get this one to move. Yeah. Because you need to move fast. And basically you go through the randomized passages, then you get to a big battle arena, essentially, and you can still see Cthulhu coming in from the side. And you have to defeat 3 waves of enemies in that area. If you do that before Cthulhu is really kind of in the room, then it'll offer you a secondary weapon, because you start off with just the blaster and the claw, and you can get a secondary weapon. I highly recommend the shield. And then it blows out the wall leading out of the room so you can get moving. Otherwise, the wall will blow out at a certain time, like if you're just taking too damn long. So you can still progress, but you are at a serious disadvantage now.
Yeah.
Like you've lost a lot of ground, especially because sometimes you have to clear a lot of rocks out of that passage to get out of that room. And so basically, if you die or if all of the lanterns are put out, then you lose.
Okay.
And so you just keep going until you don't lose.
Is it a multiplayer or is it a versus? Like, are you racing or are you?
You're not racing. You're working together.
Okay.
Yeah. You can play it single player, but it is hard. Okay. Some of those passages are really, really hard to do as a single player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's meant to be co-op multiplayer, and so you do gain more points the longer you keep your lantern. So it's not like just abandon a lantern so one guy can shoot and the other guy drags a lantern. But eventually that's kind of what you're going to need to get to, is just save that last lantern.
Cool.
And there are a couple of achievements tied to it, which I worked really hard to do by myself because nobody would play with me.
If I buy the game, I'll do it with you. But now you've already got them. But I'll need help.
You'll need them.
That's true.
I still want to play it. Yeah. So
well, I want to check out the full game because I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I'm going to pick it up because I love the art style.
Yeah.
How
I kind of wish there was some music to it. I mean, that's the one thing. I mean,
it's a little weird,
minimal.
Right?
Well, that's another thing that reminds me of Limbo.
That it's just really low key and
Limbo. It does bring in music a little bit here and there, but overall it's just kind of ambient sounds.
Yeah.
And so with this being a slightly more action oriented kind of game, I would have liked a little more in terms of sound. But
I don't know if I even thought about it, but I bet if I was playing the full game, I would have probably been a lot more aware.
Yeah, it's not something that was really at the forefront of my mind when I was playing it, but as I reflect on it, I'm like, huh. That's when I would notice it.
Yeah. Well, cool. I want to check out the full game. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Maybe next time I'll have some more about it.
It is a lot of fun.
Should we move on to
Connect Corner? I can knock 2
if you
out.
want to do it in the middle,
there you go.
go for it.
Well, I can do Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja.
And then also Hole in the Wall. I ended up buying Fruit Ninja.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun with it.
You hate fruit.
I do hate fruit. They've got an arcade mode, a classic.
I thought you were going to say R. Kelly mode.
An R. Kelly mode from the from the closet. Yeah,
Stop.
From the closet mode.
Let's not talk about that anymore.
But they've got
not going to go anywhere good.
They've got like a challenge mode. You can play 2-player on it. I really enjoyed it. I know that this is a handheld game like for iPod or iPad or
iTouch.
an Android or whatever. Anyway, I still had a lot of fun with it. It gets pretty crazy. You can have a lot of fun with it. Kicks work with it, which I thought was really cool.
Kick punch is all in the mind.
Yeah, well, the Summer's nephews were over and they were having a lot of fun with it, and it was pretty cool because there's 1.2, especially when you're doing the challenge or I think it's arcade mode. I can't remember which one. There's this pomegranate that comes on the screen and you have to karate chop it, and it's
like over and over again, right?
Oh yeah, and
I saw the video for that.
You get your hands I got to like 49, and
Nice.
that's become my new thing. It's like I'm trying to get as many as I
new
can.
high score?
Yeah, and I'd love to see that camera because I'm like right in it, like but they don't show you that video. At least that I was able to find. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Played 2-player on it, and I
Did you
like
kick
that.
your cousins accidentally?
No. They were just flailing. Yeah, and it was they were killing. I got to learn how to do that, but I didn't. I had a lot of fun.
It
with
does sound like
So-
a game that benefits from a total lack of concern of how you look as you're playing it.
True, it is. I tried to do the karate at first, but then you can get some crazy things going. But that's the other thing too. They throw up these little
Can
grenades.
you break them with your head?
I didn't try that one yet.
You should try that.
But they had if you get a momentum going, you'd probably pick it up. But they throw up those bombs, but then they have these like other bananas that come through that are like frenzy, which throw up a lot of fruit, or they like freeze things.
I remember
So
when I threw up a lot of fruit.
I've
That was
thrown up
bad.
fruit before, but I had a lot of fun with it. It's a fun game.
Now the $10 price point is worth it for you. Just to swing your arm
Yeah,
around?
I've had a lot of fun with it.
Just
at
to
the
swing
$10.
your arm.
Yeah, honestly,
As opposed to just sit there and press buttons.
Well, I know, but
I played
it's a dollar game is the problem.
Well,
Normally.
Not
a
on
hand-
this platform.
I know
on a
it's not.
handheld.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun with it.
It's a different
And
experience,
At
though.
$10, I mean, and at $10, I'm thinking of picking up Hole in the Wall because I had a lot of fun with that. I mean, it's a lot. I had a lot better time with my Kinect when you have tons of people over and tons of
Right.
people playing it.
Right.
And those games are fun to have. And that I was having fun with Fruit Ninja by myself, but then when other people got involved with it,
It was even
I was
more
glad
fun.
that I even have it. The $10 was right there. I got paid for.
So you do have people come to your house, just not me.
That's true. But
Hole in the wall. Let's talk about
Hole
that.
in the Wall is
Yes.
where I'm going to put you. But this is again another fun. I think this is a fun game, a family game. I probably am not going to buy this one just
Okay.
because I don't. I
don't like the
know-
pose.
I'm not going to have a lot of people. It's hard.
I would imagine so. Is this the one where you got to like make a shape to like
Yeah.
go through the wall?
Yeah, and like the 2-player seems like you've got to work together.
Ugh.
To like
Two-player.
because the Hole in the Wall is it's a Japanese game, and you can play teams of 2s, or you can play versus. But the 2-player one, there's some that they show people having to actually you have to pick up another person. and they have to
Wheelbarrow
rest.
them?
Yeah, and you have to rest on their back or something like that. There's one where you have to jump to get through it. So there is some neat little aspects to it, and of course, your avatar's rocking it the whole time.
So that helps
Oh,
you.
That helps me 100-fold because he's standing there celebrating at the end of it. My guy's awesome, but
Is he?
he is awesome. But we had a lot of fun with the Fruit Ninja, but I had a lot of fun with that Hole in the Wall, and yeah, it's worth
Even though
checking
you're not
out.
going to get it?
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
But it's just there's other games I'd want to buy.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Toy Soldier?
Toy Soldiers Cold War?
I bought that game.
So did I.
Me too.
Awesome avatar items in that one. Well, I got to get it
Let's
out.
start with what's important.
I gotta get it out. When they
And it's
put
that
the
bomber jacket.
they put the friggin' Maverick bomber jacket in there and the Rambo hairdo. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
You can't.
You can't. Anyway,
So
awesome.
we're all fans of the original Toy Soldiers.
Yes,
Yes.
although I was slow going to
You
it.
were slow. That's all right. But you got there.
Although, honestly, if I had
just took
played
a while.
Cold War first, I totally wouldn't have taken so long warming up to it.
Yeah. It is a much different experience,
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
The new one, yeah, it's so much more action oriented
Yes.
and so much more involved than the first one.
Right.
The first Toy Soldiers was much
I
more
almost
of
forget to build turrets.
it's a passive experience.
Yeah.
And so you could kind of set up your things and you could man everything, on your own, but it wasn't anywhere near as required as it is in the new game. Because I do find it's required almost in some aspects
Really?
of Cold War that you have to be manning
Yeah.
some of those guns in some positions.
I
at a
agree.
time.
I agree.
And
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we don't want to just paint it in the light that it requires you to do that. It does encourage you as well with a lot of rewards for doing so.
That's true.
Like, for example, if you take control of a machine gun unit as a bunch of foot soldiers are running to you, and so you have a little power bar at the bottom, and that will fill up as you kill enemies. It'll slowly decrease over time, too, but you reach a certain point, what is it, hyperdrive? Or
I think it's like if you got 20, then it would activate your overdrive.
Overdrive.
Yep.
Where you don't have to reload, which is totally sweet. And then if you fill it up even more, then you get a barrage, which is a randomized, basically, perk, including the Rambo action figure. I'm sorry,
which is awesome.
The action figure, yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
At first I was like, I get infinite rockets and infinite machine gun. That might be a little too much, but it is so much fun to just go.
And what you get like 30 seconds, right?
Right.
Yeah. Or something like that.
And all the stupid shit he's shouting out.
This one's for Jimmy.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I was just a little concerned it was a little overpowered.
The action is just so much more ramped up this time around, and I loved it. I love everything.
Well,
about it.
in addition to the meter and then unlocking the barrages, you also have challenges within the level, and those are usually done by manning. Well, at least from what I've seen, I actually haven't played a whole lot of it.
Okay,
but they're done by manning one of the turrets. Basically building a special kind of turret and manning it, and using that to rack up kills.
Yeah, like using an anti-aircraft and taking out all the helicopters.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
Yeah. It
was.
I
know it is.
I think helicopters are bitches.
I think what really won me over about this game, I really fell in love with the first one. I mean, there's the style to it. It's the whole like old school toys, and you're controlling them, and then you have the battlefield, which is in some kid's room.
Yeah,
and they brought that to the table in this one, and it's still awesome. But it's just the whole feel. I love off of subject. I love DJ Hero, and I didn't know how they do better than that. DJ Hero 2 killed it.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, how did they do this and not do this with the first one? And this is what it's the same feel. It's like I feel more into it. Like there's times where I just sat and, I made things going in Toy Soldiers. I just kind of adjusted, and, this one I'm in the battle, and I think I really like that. It pulls me in a little bit more just because on the turrets, I want to get behind them, not to get like the bonuses, but it just seems like you do better if you're manning them yourself now.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It felt like in the old game they could take care of their own.
Exactly.
As you did maintenance, they could take care of their own. Yeah, there were some that you had to man and get behind, but it just seems like this one, there's guys getting by them. And you're like, well, wait a minute, I need to get on. I think it encourages more, not only with the perks that you get, just with the way the gameplay is. I think it's become more arcadey and more just in your face awesome. I love it.
And I think that's an awesome point, that as far as like Signal Studios did the first game, and continue to do DLC for that too. I mean, they did a number, 2 or 3, was it 2 packs that they did DLC?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, I think
so. This could have easily been an 80 skin on top of that game, and like just put it out, as a full title. But they also, instead of just going like side by side, they like upped everything on it, in my opinion, and made it a better experience. All the while they were still working on those other things,
Yeah.
So they could have reskinned it. They did, but they also added in so much more gameplay and like all those other things that it keeps track of. The stats are amazing to me. That stuff is ridiculous, the number of things that it keeps track of. And I love that they pop up, and I love that stuff is in-game while I'm doing things, and it's always, comparing me to everybody on my friends list.
That's nice.
And I loved that. They, when I talked to those guys at San Diego, they were saying that stuff was in there, but I didn't get to experience it like as it was happening when I was playing the game, which was amazing to me. I love all those little the level up, like you said, with the level in the game, but then they also have those other achievements for each level. Has 2 different I can't remember what they're called, merits, something like that.
I can't remember either.
Commendations or something like that, where there are 2 specific things you have to do, and then so that you have all these different things. It's not only just getting through the level.
Right.
It's okay, you got through the level. Now if you want to come back later and maybe kind of focus on these other things. And so it has me replaying things constantly too.
And especially when you're looking at it and they give you the numbers too. And you're like, I was one off. Now you want to replay the thing because you're like all pissed at the game for screwing you out of that one.
Away.
Yeah. And you're like, I could do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Compared to the first one, I love the first one. And this one just, I don't know.
got-
If it had the same type of action, like the first person action that you have with I can't even think of the game now, and I haven't finished it. And you're walking the Trenched. You know how when you get in the first person mode
Right.
or the over the shoulder mode in Trenched, and you feel like you're in the mix. If it had that same type of feel, which it still does a little bit, I'd say this game is even just. But it's still awesome. I'm just trying to find one nitpick, and that's the only one I have.
What about the battery operated toys?
Yeah, see, I like that too. You know, you had those in the first game,
Right.
But this is like you can extend them
Right.
in the first game. You were always at I've only got a certain amount of time. I'm going to be able to use this,
Right.
And you're always on the clock.
Yeah.
In this, it almost becomes strategy as far as you can push it out and keep using them as long as possible. And you can land them back on their little battery pads.
Find them
Can you?
batteries.
Because I was trying to do that and I
Yeah.
couldn't quite do it.
It's hard with the helicopter because you kind of just got to hover and wait for the B to show up, and then you hit B and basically it just falls down.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I just kept like trying to descend. and I
You'd think
I
you
would
were
crash.
above it. Yeah, I did that 100.
Yeah.
But then with the tanks, I would just sit on those and
Yeah.
like shoot everything from there and like just not even move off the pad.
Yeah.
So I love that it was kind of a strategy build of you could actually go out with them and then kind of get back and like let them build up again. And
Yeah.
I really liked those a lot.
Yeah, I like the almost makeshift feel of the game too.
Yes.
It reminds me of that last DLC for Toy Soldiers, the first Toy Soldiers, the Aliens Attack one, where I mentioned how all the toys seemed like the kids were just grabbing whatever toys they had. They had like fire trucks and knights on horses
Yeah.
and spacemen and flying saucers and things
Yeah.
like that. And you do get more of a feel of like sort of a makeshift play session going on here with like the gas and the flamethrower turrets being called makeshift, I believe.
Yeah, and they're like aerosol cans
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
like the lighter and then like the fireworks
Yes.
that they're using. I love that stuff.
and the environment itself feels more makeshift. I mean, it feels more like the kids' room.
Yeah, because you got like Rubik's cubes sitting
Right.
around, and
So whereas the first one definitely managed to capture the feel of actual war. Like, I mean, it was a little heavy. I think that's one of the reasons it took me a
Yeah.
little while to get into it.
it was
I agree.
heavy.
Yeah, this one just feels more arcadey, as Sean said earlier, or just more fun oriented and crazy action.
over the top.
When
Yeah.
and then the music. Because you totally have it's like
right,
it's
yeah.
like this hybrid of Top Gun and Rambo and all those like war movies of the 80s, and it's like at one moment I'm like, wait, that's the theme from Top Gun, but then we'll change. It's like really close,
like a
but
medley.
yeah, it's not the same.
And the first
but
time you get that fighter jet and they play that music,
yeah.
that song, it's like it's awesome.
and you're like, what is it? Awesome?
And they added in other things too. Overall I found the game to be much easier than the first game.
Yeah.
You do get to bosses, and the bosses seem to have 4 stages now, so they're multi-staged bosses,
Right.
Which wasn't the case with the first game.
That was the
it?
case. Yeah,
I thought they were just like big.
they
pricks.
would have 3 stages.
Oh, okay.
In the first game,
They were
'cause-
dicks. I know that.
Yeah.
And I didn't run into anything where I even had to redo a level once. I don't think. Or even use my rewind, because they added in the wave
Oh, yeah, the
rewind
wave
now, so you
rewind.
can, which is brilliant
Yeah.
and fantastic.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I felt like they added those things in, but then the game overall was kind of easier anyway. And I don't know why that is, but I still had some problems.
Maybe-
I mean, it's
I
not
mean-
like I was acing shit.
I mean, because you do unlock like the really difficult difficulty setting when you go through. It might be encouragement for that. It might also just be, have you gotten through the entire game?
Yes, I finished the game.
It seemed like it was a little shorter than
It did
the
feel
original one.
It did feel that way, and I will say my other disappointment is probably my only disappointment with the game is that there's no alternate campaign. And I really loved that about the first game when you would finish it and then you could go through and play the other side,
Right.
battling against the U.S.
yeah.
And unless I've not found it somewhere, that's missing from this completely.
Yeah,
and I would have really liked to have been on the other side and have that happen again.
Right.
But what
Control
can you
Ivan
do?
or something.
Yeah, it would have been
Ruskies.
awesome. But what can you do?
Yeah,
it did
like
feel
him.
a little more robust in the first game as far as like those options.
Right.
But there's other stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So and there's also the co-op and the multiplayer, which I haven't even touched yet
Yeah, me
because my
either.
gold is laxed.
Ah.
I don't have gold
You are
right
off
now.
the show.
Right? I know. Why am I even here?
Yeah,
I don't even have a gold account anymore.
I ask that every time we record.
How'd you play
though.
Raventhorne? Anyway.
That's true. So there are other aspects to the game, obviously, that I haven't explored yet. So that will add length, and I'm obsessed about going through some of those leaderboards. I really want to go back and better some of my performances and scores. Obviously, I've only played through some of those levels once at this point, and I've got to get all those commendations or whatever they're called.
Gotta catch them all.
Got to catch them all, just like Pokemon. I highly recommend the game, and I know that they're going to be doing DLC. There's an option on the menu for downloadable content, and they did with the first game.
You see that with, I'm sure they'll have DLC, but I'm just saying you see that with actually a lot of arcade games now.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. Well, and they might have like any avatar items that you can purchase.
True.
It links to that sort of stuff.
The marketplace.
Yeah. Trailers, that sort of thing.
Yep. So, but I'm staying hopeful with them. I know that they like those aspects of the game.
Mm-hmm. This game is it was a lot better than I was anticipating. I was assuming I was going to like it, but it just kind of won me over, especially when the action figure dropped. Because it's the
and he's in the box.
It's a box, and it's like a G.I. Joe box. It's like this
Don't
game's
tread
like,
on me.
Don't tread on me. I love him. He's
awesome.
Cool. How about some demos? Are we done with the XBLA?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play. I was planning on playing some more XBLA, but I didn't get a chance to before the show. So demo-wise?
I have Driver San Francisco.
Cool.
I
It's
played.
coming out in a couple weeks.
I believe so.
I remember playing Driver on the PS2.
You would know.
I barely would know.
No, you know more than I would.
So, what do you think of the demo? Tell me.
They have the multiplayer and the regular on here,
Okay.
which I played both of them. The regular game is it's interesting. I'm not too familiar with this driver. Tanner's his name, but he is able to kind of shift himself into other people.
Are you up on the story at all, Craig?
Yeah,
how the game plays?
I had heard about this
Because it's kind of ridiculous.
the possession thing.
It is pretty ridiculous because
He's in a coma.
So weird.
Or he was in a coma.
Yeah, and then now he has like this. He was in a near-death experience,
And
and
the
now
crime boss put it like some...
I don't know about that. So I missed the
He has the power to jump into other people's minds.
I missed Driver
as long as they're driving.
Pre-Francisco or whatever it was. But
I don't think that matters in this case.
But I really, right off the bat,
it's a new level of undercover police work because that's what the original was. He was an undercover cop working as a driver for.
See,
there you go.
But now he takes control of people.
It's ridiculous, but it looks like it's awesome. And that's all I'm saying.
And from the get-go, it had me because it's a driving game. It's in San Francisco, so the hills are there. The graphics look fantastic. Right off the bat, they show the Starsky and Hutch Gran Turismo, like the red one, and I'm like, that means you get to play it. So I'm happy already on that one. I didn't get to play it, but anyway. So like these two cops are having fun, and this guy Tanner gets to like shift into people, and that's one of the first ones. It's like called Prove It or something like that, and you pretty much do all these little things. You have to jump off the back of a truck, or you have to hook onto a back of a wrecker, or you have to run into a cop car and then avoid all the cops and try to get away from them. Then they also have this one called Team Colors, where it's a racing, and you're two cars racing two other cars, and you have to shift between your two cars.
That's really
you
crazy.
got to get your one out in the head and then get the other one up, because you have to get first and second place.
That's nuts to me.
And the first part I was driving, and I'm like, well, why does it keep telling me to shift? I was like, I'm in first place, but my guy was in fourth, so I had to shift back to him and get back up. So I thought that was a really neat.
It is.
That pulled me into like the game. I'm like, well, if this is what the gameplay is going to be like, this is going to be nuts.
I mean, it's such a twist on like any kind of normal racing, gameplay. Like, it's just odd to me. It sounds mind-boggling to me to like have to worry about two cars in a race.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so this is that's crazy. And then they have a one called The Escapist, which is essentially you have to escape all these police cars. Which you're like driving another guy around, and you make it to like 3 different sections and whatnot, like any kind of driving in like Grand Theft or any of those kind of games. I really enjoyed it. I thought that little intro was really cool to it. The fact that they have a multiplayer involved with this whole shift, that intrigued me, so I jumped into the multiplayer. That is bizarre. I only played 2. I don't know if they said they had other modes, but the only 2 that I played, because I played a couple, but they were kind of recycling, was tag, where you tag another car and you try to stay away from these cars, But the thing about it is, with this shift, you can shift and get to a car. Like if you crash, you can shift to get to that. Try to get to that leader.
These are like NPCs, basically, that you can shift into.
A little bit, yeah. You find a car,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then you if one's close to it, it might be a cab, it might be a truck, it might be
It's like your maximum overdrive.
yeah. And so like then you
Doesn't it like pull out to like an overhead view?
yeah and it's like if
So
you
then you're,
see
like,
someone's eye, it's
selecting
almost
them.
like someone's eyeball
Yeah.
is silhouetted within it, and then you go into like this like hyper mode and you find it, and then you take control of the car. So that was a little interesting in a multiplayer way.
Because you would have everybody jumping around all over the place,
And
right?
I don't think anyone was that I was playing against, because I was killing. I mean, I was killing, and it was like someone would tag me, I would hit them, and then I'd be gone. But then like someone would tag me, then I would just switch to a car right by them and tag them and get going. So that was a really interesting way. The other one was Trailblazer. And I don't know if it was a DeLorean on purpose, because essentially you have to follow the trail that
DeLorean on purpose.
Well, it was a DeLorean, and it was putting off these trails.
of course it was on purpose.
Yeah, but you had to follow it.
It was accidental.
and that's how you get your points, is stay as close as you can to this
I
car.
see.
So you have to stay behind it, and then that like some guy hit me and I went flying off the track. Well, then I just picked another car and I was right behind him again.
Right.
It would make for some crazy gameplay in the multiplayer. I'm interested in it. I think it looks amazing. The cars look great. The handling I had a fun time with. The only problem I had a problem with was I'm so used to turbos being a button. Their turbo is up on the joystick, on the left joystick is up.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And a lot of people, when they race, they kind of put that
Put forward.
yeah.
It's like Craig was talking. When you want to jump, you go
on
you
that,
push
on that
up.
jump hero,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love that, because I don't do that as much, because when you did that, I think it was in Burnout.
Yeah.
It would cause it to really go in this fast mode, and it always messes with my, vision.
So you love it because it's fucking other people up, but not you?
Exactly.
That's basically what it boils down to, right?
That is awesome. Sean.
I'm loving it, because I have trained myself in most racing games not to press forward. But
So then
What
you
a
could be
dick
like,
move.
But now,
suck it, losers.
But now I'm like, this is like right up my alley on how I play. Like, and the gameplay is cool. The handbrakes are there. I mean, it's just another cool driving game. I'm looking forward to the campaign. I'm looking forward to this.
So
game.
basically, it's a completely ridiculous story that leads to totally awesome gameplay.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is just get my head out of the story,
The
because who
stupidest
gives
story
a shit?
ever.
Because if it makes for awesome gameplay, that's what I need to worry about.
Yeah, there's a point that he goes like, wait a couple minutes, then punch me in the face. That's what he said. Because it's like, and it's weird when he like
God.
takes control of these guys' bodies. Then you're in the car with them, and then they're having these weird conversations. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I don't. What? I'm just driving." And then they're like, "Why'd you run into that cop car?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm going to do something else here." And you're like, I think it's really. I'm looking forward to see how that
You
transcribes.
have to be
and-
completely
and-
open to the science fiction
Yeah,
aspect of it.
exactly.
Just not care.
especially in the multiplayer, because you can go anywhere. I mean,
great.
and pick anything. I think I'm assuming in the regular game, you could probably grab a couple different ones.
You know what it also sounds like to me is that it's going to be awesome to get around. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
if you don't want to like drive one way, like all the way across, or if you want to get to a specific spot to do like a challenge or something,
Yeah.
you can just jump to that area.
Yeah.
And that's going to be awesome.
And the city looks awesome. There's a lot of jumps, because there's a lot of trucks, like jump trucks driving around, just
Yeah.
like Burnout. I mean, it has a lot of feel of that Burnout had. Just they need more jumps in just random places, like off of buildings and stuff. But
Cool.
Still, just I dug it. Yep.
Are you guys looking forward to the Burnout XBLA game coming up?
I think that
I think
it's
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I think you're going to love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like the
also got
old
Kinect playability.
The old Burnout game. Yeah, the
It
old,
does?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to move the car back and forth and cause it to blow up and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's essentially like my favorite part
like
of Burnout,
Burnout
but
pinball.
like and then an over to the top, like
Yeah.
top down look on it.
It's like the Showtime, but a little bit old school.
It's going to be great.
Yeah,
I
cool.
think.
Yeah.
I like
Excellent.
blowing stuff up.
What we got for disc games then?
You want to go way back for your Portal?
We'll go back to the orange box.
My terrible time travel sound.
So Craig loaned me his
I'll do
orange
range
box that I haven't returned to him yet, even though I've finished playing with it. But
You have that habit.
You can play Half-Life 2.
No.
Yes, you could.
Nothing against it. I didn't like it when I was playing it the first time.
You might want to try it again.
It's the first person aspect to it,
But
guys.
you've matured so much as a gamer.
You have a wrench.
I really haven't.
In the last 2.5 years, you've matured so much as a gamer.
I really haven't. But back to Portal.
You've gotten older.
I really was just... Yeah, there you go. That's more like it. This kid doesn't mature. So... Back to Orange Box, the Portal. I wanted to finish it. I was close to ending the game, and Craig lent me his because you thought I stole yours, Jeremy. So Craig lent me his because he knew better. And when I started playing it, it didn't have a save file because back in the Xbox crash of 2010, I cleared out a bunch of memory because that was in my mind helping me play more games.
That's probably just as well. With a game like that, it's probably better to just start again and get into the swing.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, I don't think I even paid attention to GLaDOS the whole entire time I played. I know. What are you just why are you playing that? I had so much fun with this game. I sat down and played it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
And
was it one sitting? That's awesome.
Yep. And the one part
great.
that I got stuck on was cake to me. Like total. I remember the level. I was like, "Oh, great!" But then I was like, "Well, do this," and then I was through it. I'm like, "Well, wait a minute." Portal 2 totally saved me for Portal
was not
first.
For you.
No, the cake was there, and I ate it and enjoyed it all.
Ate it twice,
but had a lot of fun with it. Loved the whole game because I really, to be honest, I don't remember listening to GLaDOS that much when I first played it the first time, and she had me enthralled, and I just it was great. It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with it. So
and you finished it.
Check out the Orange Box in Portal.
You're on the pulse.
Nice.
Oh, but it was.
How do you get this advanced info?
Yeah, exactly.
You got like an inside source.
The best part was when I sat down to load a game, and it was like
no embargo on information about this.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about that.
You guys can just suck it.
No, what?
But when I sat down to play it, and I'm like, nothing to load up, and I'm like, oh.
I can't believe.
And then when I started playing it, it just
you didn't.
Next
care.
thing you know, I was done with it.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's really great. I played some Captain America. I can't remember what the tagline is on that. Is it like the Mighty Avenger or something?
The first Avenger or the Sentinel of Liberty?
Different. Sentinel of Liberty, is that it on the game?
So. That's his other. That's his other call sign in the comics. So I think that might be it.
Sentinel of Liberty.
The Sentinel of Avenger.
All right, so you talked about the game and said it was in the vein of
Thor,
Green Lantern,
our summer movies.
I would say it's in the vein that it's a tie-in.
But I also said Arkham Asylum too.
It is very Arkham Asylum. I'd say it doesn't even deserve to be in the same breath as Green Lantern or Thor. It is
because he likes it. I believe it does.
Because only in the way that it exists, like that it's a tie-in to like a movie release.
Yeah, but
like the gameplay, I thought was a ton of fun.
Yeah,
like it's not a huge, like it's not a top tier game by any stretch of the imagination. I think it took me like 6 hours to play it.
So it's more along the lines of Wolverine Origins?
Definitely. I had the same kind of feel.
Okay.
Maybe not as fun as Wolverine Origins.
Sure.
Because you could get those combos going in Wolverine Origins.
And there was a much tighter look to Wolverine Origins, like a cleaner, tighter look. Because and this, has some it's not as graphically advanced. But it definitely is. Is that the nice way to say that? It's kind of graphically retarded.
Could use some polish.
That's what I'm trying to say. A little bit. But it wasn't bad. And I thought his shield looked fucking badass.
See, that's what I thought was
the
really...
shield was awesome looking.
Like, visually, I didn't think it was that crisp, but then when you get into the fighting and that stuff, how it was, like, it was fluid... It totally it made up for it.
And so when you said the thing about the Arkham Asylum, I was thinking as far as like, because you had said it in reference to his like detective mode, and you can kind of activate that, and it kind of washes out everything into like a sepia tone, and then like everything kind of like comes back in, like
it fades
color-wise
to black and white, then to color, which I thought was
and so
awesome.
You can kind of see the little areas that you need to do where you can see enemies or items better because there's so many collectibles. Like they were a little crazy on the collectible aspect of the game.
And that's the Arkham City.
I'm guessing that it's about a 3-hour game, but 6 hours with the collectibles because you spend.
That's the tie-in. Actually, is what that is. We need to beef this out.
Exactly right. But I didn't know that it was Arkham Asylum type gameplay in as far as the environment that you were in, because you're essentially in this huge compound and you're going back and forth across that to many different areas and revisiting areas, or at least going through those areas to get to another area. And it's just really well done. Like, I liked exploring that whole area instead of just going level to level to level.
Right.
I like that you were in this cohesive unit of a compound and kind of just going through the different areas in that compound, and you could kind of go places that you weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Like I was walking around this area that I wasn't supposed to go to yet. I couldn't get in any of the doors, but I could go up and look around, and everything was kind of locked, quote unquote, until it opened up in the story. But I kind of like that you were just in this, hanging out in this compound, and it was like you're going all over the place.
Yeah, but there's the whole story behind it where it's Baron Zemo's place, and then you find out that think it's
summer home. Actually,
well, you think it's Red Skull, and it's Red Skull's hangout, but then you find out he took it from Baron.
Spoiler.
It's awesome.
Well, it's pre-movie, right? Is this how it works? Is a prequel? It's a little beforehand.
It's during. I think this is the stuff that takes place while he's fighting.
Skipped over period.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's because he does all the fighting in the movie after he dons the outfit after saving all those people.
I don't know because I haven't seen the movie yet because I suck.
He saves a lot of people.
What?
Spoiler.
He's Captain America. That's what he does.
But you know what? I'm not heralding it as do I think it's worth a $50 purchase? Probably not. It's a 6-hour game, to be honest with you. And there's no reason to go back and play it again because you get, I think I played through it once and got 900 points of the gamer score.
I think so. Probably.
And the only thing was because I missed one turret thing to blow up. And
I know. I didn't even know I was supposed to blow those up.
I missed one.
I got all but one. I never went back to it.
All but one.
That's probably the one that
50-point achievement. Fantastic.
Whatever.
And then the other one was getting gold on all the challenges because they do have 10 or 15 challenges that you can do that work like the Arkham Asylum. I mean, it's very much based on an Arkham Asylum archetype.
Right.
As far as the type of game.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that one. But otherwise, you can get everything by playing through because even though there's a ton of collectibles, they put more collectibles in the game than what you need to get.
Ah, I see.
So then once you get them all, they take them all out. So they're no longer around, but I kind of like that they you don't have to scour everywhere,
right?
Because they do have multiples, in abundance of. I think one of them was collecting those ceramic eggs, and you had to get 50, but there was probably 75 in there. So
are we getting into Captain America's hobbies here? He collects Fabergé eggs.
Well, they were Baron Zemo's Fabergé eggs.
Oh, okay.
Because they're his place.
They had little hints and things on them. Did I talk about the you were able to the skins, the different skins? For them? Yeah, because they had the Ultimate Captain America, the World War II version.
That's what I changed over to.
So did I. He was awesome.
The Ultimate Cap.
Oh God, that was so cool.
So I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I said, I don't recommend a purchase. Definitely a rental. I mean, you can rent that and we can go through it in 1 or 2 sittings. But I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
For a movie tie-in game, it blew away my expectations.
Awesome.
Especially when I was going in expecting the Thor game.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's going to be Thor. And it wasn't at all. It's just a much different feel to it.
I like that.
Did it have the annoying last battle like Wolverine Origins?
No.
God, no, I didn't have any problems with any of the battles, actually.
No.
I loved that game until that very last battle.
Yep.
That battle was shit.
Oh, was that the Deadpool one?
Yep.
Yeah, where you're on the nuclear
that was
reactor.
Terrible. That's right. Everybody hated that.
I've survived a million things, but if I fall off the edge of this reactor, I'm dead.
What? Wait. Who?
What did I know?
How's it gonna do it?
Anyway.
Is that it?
I don't have anything.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't have any other disc games. Because I didn't play anything.
To talk about, yep.
What's up?
You failed us, Jeremy.
I failed in everything. All right, well, that is our marathon catch-up episode. Hopefully we won't have 18 downloadable indie games.
Whatever. That is my hope. That's my hope every episode.
Or maybe we will. So tune back in then.
Because I still didn't even get caught up with everything. I still missed the chunk.
You skipped a couple things.
No, I missed the chunk because I was working chronologically and I didn't get to some of the more recent stuff.
More recent. Okay. Well, next time.
Exactly.
We'll have them all. Signedinpodcast.com. That is our website. You can follow the links to our Twitter feed, our Facebook fan page, all the other pseudo radio shows, all of our past episodes.
Yeah, follow my Twitter for up-to-date news on old games.
Speaking of forums,
I just found this game Contra.
Speaking of forums,
Does anyone know any codes?
I learned via our forums. Anybody know our codes? I learned via our forums, and we just skipped over, and I don't know why we didn't talk about it at all. You play DJ Hero? You got DJ Hero now?
I have
That's
both,
why I
have
brought
both
DJ.
Heroes.
That's totally why I brought DJ
And then we
Hero
skipped
up,
over
and
it.
you guys didn't even nothing happened.
I
I was
didn't
like,
think about
all right,
it.
I'm moving on.
So what the fuck? I go away for like 2 weeks, and all of a sudden now you're playing DJ Hero.
I didn't think you were ever coming back, so I thought it would
had
be
to take
safe
over the
to like
spot.
things that you that you like.
I want you to like. So I'm glad that you got it. That's awesome to hear.
That was a
You
great
are
deal
enjoying
too.
it?
Yeah. What?
You are enjoying it.
Yes, I am enjoying it. I
it's
actually like the
awesome.
music for the first game better than the second one.
Yeah.
I do like the gameplay of the second one, but man, some of those combinations of songs are just way more interesting.
I
than-
agree with you.
Than
I'll agree.
the second
Yeah.
one. So, because I picked up the turntable bundle at Best Buy for like $35 or whatever, and then
awesome.
I got the first one for $10.
That's so great.
At a GameStop. So
Well, congrats on your DJ Hero purchase.
thank you.
I'm glad that you're
my
part of the
shoulder was
family.
hurting for a while.
Yeah.
I'm glad
But
that
now
you're
it's got the strength.
part of the family.
Scratch. Well, the problem was when I first started playing it, I would be like, well, scratch, as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And especially I would try to match like what I was hearing, but I only play on medium, so now I'm like, oh, just
really light. Yeah. And mine broke that way too.
Yeah.
Like, because I went
I'm
through
sure.
like 3 tables.
Oh, good.
It's ridiculous.
Good
Good
luck
luck with
forward
that.
Well, it was one of the DJ Hero 2 tables, so maybe that's
That'll help,
stronger.
maybe,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, enough about that. So we're done, right?
Yes.
Comments at signedinpodcast.com. You can email us anytime. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
Shoot us an email. And next episode, Driver 2 or Driver San Francisco.
Yes.
Not 2.
Yes.
It's more like Driver 27.
We're going
at this
back.
point.
That's going to be
Time
like
again.
driver 1 for me.
Sean actually will play Driver 2 on PS2.
Dead Island. Dead Island's coming out.
That's right.
Finally.
Yeah.
See.
Did you see something about a Death Spank expansion?
Yeah, well,
That's coming out,
The
right?
Baconing,
Yeah.
comes out. I believe it comes out on the 31st.
That's
There are a
exciting.
couple XBLA games
That's
that are coming
exciting
out
for
on the
you.
31st.
Great name.
The Baconing.
Yes.
That Warhammer Space Marine. I'm gonna probably check that out.
Oh, okay.
too.
I meant to check out that demo
I think I'm gonna check that out.
because the demo for that
40K.
came out.
And can we talk about the most important thing, which is the Missplosion Man pinball table?
Yes.
No,
It's like
we
the
can't. We're not
26th
allowed to
or
talk about
something?
it.
It's this week.
This week? Like the
It's a reality. The 31st.
31st. Okay.
It's happening,
Oh, that's
and we're gonna
awesome.
talk about it.
Nice.
Is that it?
Yes.
I can't.
Thanks
wait to
everybody
play
for your
that.
patience, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. We promise.
Don't promise.
I promise that. Nothing after that.
Okay.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If you are receiving this transmission, this has been a pseudo radio production. Repeat, this has been a pseudo radio production, copyright 2011.